You should all know, she owes me everything, my husband typed into the family WhatsApp group. My sister-in-law replied, laughing, without you she'd be nothing. I stared at my phone, shaking. My hands were cold. My chest felt tight. Then a new message popped up. It was from my doctor. And it changed everything. My name is Brianne Nicole. I'm 34. I work as a patient care coordinator at a small clinic on the east side of town. It's not a fancy job, but I'm good at it. I help people navigate confusing systems, fill out forms, schedule appointments, and feel a little less alone when they're sick and scared. I've been married for 8 years. 8 years of being the quiet one, the problem solver, the person who shows up when nobody else will. If my husband's mother needed a ride to her cardiologist at 7 in the morning, I was there. If his brother needed someone to watch his kids on a Saturday because he forgot to plan ahead, I was there. If his father needed help understanding his insurance paperwork, I sat at that kitchen table for hours, line by line, until it made sense. I never asked for a thank you. I never expected a parade. That was just who I was. But here's the thing, nobody in that family ever bothered to learn about me. For the past 3 years, I've been fighting my own battle. Chronic autoimmune flare-ups that left me so exhausted some mornings I couldn't lift my arms above my head. Joint pain that made my fingers swell until I couldn't grip a pen. Fevers that came and went like weather nobody could predict. There were months I had to take unpaid leave because my body simply refused to cooperate. During those months, I depended on my husband. Emotionally, financially, completely. And I hated every second of it. Not because he was cruel at first, but because needing help made me feel like I was shrinking. Like I was becoming less of who I used to be. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I didn't come from a powerful family. But I had something they didn't expect. If you're watching this and you know what it feels like to depend on someone, not because you're lazy but because life forced your hand, then this story is for you. If you've ever felt small because you needed help, because your health failed you or your money ran out or the timing was just wrong, I want you to stay. Subscribe to this channel. Because this is a place where people like us get to tell our side. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been judged at the worst moment of your life, when you were too weak to defend yourself? Subscribe, tell me your story below, and click hype or like if you've ever been misunderstood. It started with one hospital bill. 1. I had a bad flare that landed me in the emergency room for 2 nights. The bill came to about $4,000. My husband paid it. And I was grateful. I told him so. I told his mother so. I told anyone who asked. But somewhere between paying that bill and the weeks that followed, my husband decided that one act of basic partnership made him my savior. He started telling his family a different version of our marriage. A version where I contributed nothing. A version where he carried me like dead weight. A version where without him, I would be homeless, jobless, and helpless. I didn't know he was doing this at first. I found out the way most people find out about betrayal. Slowly, then all at once. The family WhatsApp group had always been active. Birthdays, recipes, event planning, the usual noise. But one evening, I opened the chat and saw my name. My husband had written, "Brianna hasn't worked in weeks. I'm covering everything. The bills, the groceries, her medication. I don't complain, but it's a lot." His sister replied almost instantly, "You're a saint, honestly. Most men would have left by now." His mother added, "She should be on her knees thanking God for you every single day." I read those words sitting on the edge of my bed, still wearing the hospital bracelet I hadn't cut off yet. The taste in my mouth was metallic, like I'd bitten the inside of my cheek without realizing it. I kept scrolling. His brother wrote, "What does she even do at that little clinic? Filing papers." Laughing emojis. More laughing emojis. Then my husband typed the message that broke something inside me. "She needs to understand that everything she has right now is because of me. I expect respect. I expect gratitude. And I expect her to stop acting like she's independent when she can't even pay for her own prescriptions." I put the phone down. I picked it up again. I read it 3 more times because my brain refused to accept that the man sleeping in the next room had written those words about me for his entire family to see. Then something happened that none of them expected. A new message appeared in the group. It was from Dr. Alan Whitfield. My doctor. He had been added to the group months ago when my husband insisted the family needed direct access to my medical updates. At the time, I thought it was concern. I didn't realize it was control. Dr. Whitfield posted a single document, a hospital summary report, and he tagged my husband directly. The betrayals didn't start with the WhatsApp group. They started much quieter than that. The first one I discovered almost by accident. I was at my mother-in-law's house picking up a dish I'd left there after a Sunday dinner. She was on the phone in the kitchen and didn't hear me come in. I could smell the lavender air freshener she always used, too sweet, almost suffocating. And I heard her say, "Well, Derek told us she's exaggerating most of it. He said the doctors can't even find anything seriously wrong. She just doesn't want to work." I stood in the hallway holding that ceramic dish and felt the floor tilt beneath me. My husband had told his parents I was faking, that my illness, the one that left me crying in the bathtub at 2 a.m, because my joints burned like they were filled with glass, was an act, an excuse, a performance to avoid responsibility. I drove home with the windows down because I needed the cold air to keep me from screaming. The second betrayal came 2 weeks later. My husband's family was planning a reunion barbecue. His sister called to discuss details, and I offered to help coordinate, the way I always did. There was a pause on the line. Then she said, "Actually, Brianna, we think it's better if you sit this one out. Stress isn't good for someone like you. Someone like me." She said it the way you'd talk about a stray animal that might bite. I wasn't invited to a family event I had helped plan every single year for 7 years. The third betrayal was the one that made me stop crying and start thinking. I found out from a coworker, not from my husband, that he had called my workplace. He spoke to my supervisor's assistant and casually mentioned that I might not be reliable going forward due to ongoing personal health issues. He suggested they might want to start considering a backup plan. He tried to take my job from me, the one thing I had left that was mine. That night, I sat on the bathroom floor with the door locked. The tiles were cold against my legs. The faucet dripped in a rhythm that sounded like a countdown. I cried until my ribs hurt. Then I stopped. I opened my phone, and I started saving everything. Screenshots of every WhatsApp message. Timestamps on every cruel comment. Call logs showing when he contacted my workplace. Saved voicemails from his mother where she repeated the lies he told her. I created folders. I labeled them by date. I backed them up to the cloud. Because something in me shifted that night. The sadness didn't disappear, but it moved over to make room for something sharper. The family grew bolder after that. They were convinced I was broken. They believed their own story so completely that they stopped being careful. They mocked me openly. They questioned my character in a group chat I could still read. They thought I couldn't fight back. What they didn't know was that I had been preparing for the day they crossed the line. Long before that WhatsApp message, long before the public humiliation, I was already building my case. Every screenshot was dated. Every voicemail was transcribed. Every medical record that my husband shared without my consent was documented. My doctor didn't post that hospital report on impulse. He posted it because I had already contacted him. Weeks earlier, I sat in his office and told him everything. I showed him the messages where my husband claimed I was exaggerating. I showed him the texts where family members said my condition wasn't real. Dr. Whitfield was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Brianna, what they're doing with your medical information is not just wrong. It may be illegal." He helped me file a formal record of how my private health details had been shared, twisted, and weaponized without my knowledge or permission. And that hospital report he posted in the group? It wasn't just a summary. It was a verified clinical confirmation that my condition was real, documented, serious, and ongoing. It directly contradicted every lie my husband had told. But that was only the beginning, because the report was just one piece. I had much more. I had a plan they never saw coming. I didn't do this alone. I need to be honest about that. My cousin Danielle was the only person in that family who ever looked at me like I was a full human being. Danielle had her own history with them. She was the one they called difficult. The one they whispered about at holiday dinners. The one who pushed back when things weren't fair and got labeled as the problem for doing it. She called me the night the WhatsApp messages went viral in the family. She didn't say sorry. She said, "I knew this would happen eventually. What do you need from me?" That question meant more than any apology ever could. Danielle had lived through her own version of this. Years ago, when she was going through her divorce, the same family had spread rumors that she was unstable. They used her vulnerability against her the same way they were using mine. So she understood the playbook. And she knew how to fight it. We sat together at her kitchen table for hours. The room smelled like coffee and printer ink. She helped me organize the timelines. She helped me arrange the message chains in chronological order, so the pattern of manipulation was impossible to deny. She researched the legal boundaries around medical privacy, around sharing someone's health information without consent, around workplace interference. She printed everything out and put it in a binder with color-coded tabs. Meanwhile, the family WhatsApp group was on fire. They had no idea what was coming. My husband's sister posted, "Brianna should be grateful Derek even stays. Most women in her condition get left behind." His mother wrote, "We raised Derek to be a provider. She just takes and takes." My husband himself added, "I'm done being quiet about this. Everyone needs to see who she really is." They were so loud, so confident, so absolutely certain that they had already won. They thought my silence meant surrender. They were wrong. The confrontation didn't happen in a living room. It didn't happen at a family dinner. It happened on a screen, the same place they had chosen to tear me apart. I posted a public statement on my personal social media page. It was calm. It was clear. It was 3 paragraphs long. And I rewrote it 11 times before I was satisfied. It read in part, "For the past several months, my husband and his family have used a private group chat to publicly mock my health, question my character, and rewrite the story of our marriage. I have stayed quiet until now, not because I had nothing to say, but because I was gathering the truth. Here it is." Below the statement, I shared a link to a carefully organized folder. Inside were verified screenshots sorted by date, medical records showing the severity and reality of my condition, shared with my full written consent from Dr. Whitfield, transcripts of voicemails where my mother-in-law repeated lies my husband had told her, logs showing my husband's call to my workplace, consent forms proving I had never authorized the sharing of my health information with anyone in his family, and the full hospital report that Dr. Whitfield had already previewed in the WhatsApp group, now accompanied by his professional statement confirming that my condition had been consistently documented, treated, and monitored for 3 years. The reactions came fast. My husband's sister typed in the family group, "She's lying. She made this up. Someone tell her to take it down." His mother wrote, "This is a disgrace. Family business stays in the family." Then his brother, the one who laughed about my job, went quiet. Completely quiet. Because he worked in human resources. And he recognized exactly what the workplace interference evidence meant. My husband called me 14 times in 1 hour. I didn't answer. He texted, "You're destroying this family." I replied with one line, "You destroyed it months ago. I'm just showing people the proof." The comments on my post grew. Friends, coworkers, old classmates, people I hadn't spoken to in years, they all started responding. Some shared their own stories. Some simply wrote, "I believe you." My husband tried to post his own response. It was long and rambling and full of excuses. But every claim he made was already contradicted by the evidence in the folder. His own words, in his own texts, exposed the lies in real time. The family's public image, the one they had spent years carefully building, collapsed in a single afternoon. Not because I attacked them. Because I simply held up a mirror and let everyone see what they had been saying when they thought no one was watching. I filed for separation the following week. My lawyer said the evidence I had collected made the process straightforward. There was no shouting. There was no dramatic confrontation in a courtroom. There was just paperwork and silence, and the slow, steady sound of a door closing on 8 years of a life I had outgrown. The family WhatsApp group went dead. Not quiet. Dead. No messages for weeks. Then months. The same people who couldn't stop talking about me suddenly had nothing to say. And that silence, strangely, was louder than anything they had ever typed. It sat in my chest like a held breath finally released. I went back to work full-time. My supervisor pulled me aside on my first day back and said, "We never doubted you, Brianna. Not for a second." I nodded and walked to my desk and sat there for a moment, just breathing, letting the normalcy of it wash over me. The hum of the fluorescent lights, the click of keyboards, the smell of mediocre break room coffee drifting down the hall. I rebuilt trust in myself slowly. The way you rebuild anything that's been damaged. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But honestly, my husband's family was left to deal with the consequences. His sister lost 2 close friendships after people read what she had written. His mother stopped attending her church group because someone there had seen the post. My husband himself faced a formal inquiry from his employer after the workplace interference logs became part of the separation filing. I don't tell you this for revenge. I tell you this because for a long time, they convinced me that I was nothing without them. And now they're learning what their world looks like without me in it. Dignity is not something anyone gets to take from you. They can try. They can mock it, twist it, bury it under lies in group chats and laughing emojis. But it's still yours. It was always yours. If you're watching this and someone has publicly humiliated you, a partner, a parent, a family member, someone who used a group chat or a dinner table or a social media post to make you feel small so they could feel powerful, I want you to know something. You are not crazy. You are not exaggerating. And you are not alone. If someone embarrassed you in front of others to control you, tell me about it in the comments. This channel is a community that believes survivors, not rumors. And I want you to remember this. You are not weak for needing help. Needing help is human. Using someone's need against them is cruelty. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help this story find others who felt the same way. Your support makes a huge difference.